Muzz, did you want to kick it off with these two, mate?
Yeah, far away. How are you, fellas?
How are we?
Good, thanks.
How was that review? Bit of a tough watch, was it? For probably varying reasons. Nick, I guess, start with you.
We haven't. We had yesterday off. We flew down after the game. Had yesterday off, and we'll kick off review with the team meeting after this. But yeah, we just rested the bodies up yesterday, and we'll get fired into it today. So you've caught us before we've done that process. But yeah, it'll be a tough one to look back. Everyone's watched the game. Everyone's been around the computers and around their phones and watched it a number of times. And there's a sense that we certainly left a fair few points out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably replayed a few moments in your head, and it was a very frustrating loss, I'd imagine, after the last few months of the momentum you built leading into it.
Yeah, definitely. You just look at that first half, we go over the chalk 3 times and come back for various reasons. So there's certainly, like you said, everyone's kind of playing a few moments in their head and what they do differently. But if we flip that as well, the positives is that that for everything that went wrong and everything that went against us, we're still 2 points away from getting a result there at Edinburgh and in front of a packed stadium away from home. So it's not all doom and gloom for sure, but there's areas we need to tidy up.
And what about the week ahead? It's a different vibe being overseas as opposed to that long run of home games, and you've got obviously England poses its own threat, and there's plenty of. There's a great narrative behind it with Eddie there. How do you approach that the week, with them ahead of you?
Oh, mate, playing at Twickenham, sold out. Winning at home's good. Winning away from home's, that's memories for life. So that's the way we're attacking it. We've got a great opportunity to go and do something that not many Australian teams have done. And, like I said, packed stadium here at Twickenham. Some guys have never played here. Some guys it's been a very long time since we've played here. So, what an opportunity. We're looking forward to ripping in.
Nick, you guys headed to Twickenham with having not beaten England since 2015. Is there anything particular about their game style or how they play, particularly at that ground, which has sort of caused Australia trouble in the past?
I don't know. How many times have they played them since 2015? I don't actually know.
I believe it's 6 or 7. I believe seven. 7
times at Twickenham since 15. We've played every year.
Sorry, correction. Sorry, I thought misunderstood the question. 3 times at Twickenham since 2015.
Sorry, yeah. So because I wasn't there. I think it's just a tough one. I'm trying to think back. Obviously lost at home a couple of times. Different over here. Obviously they're at home. They're a different beast at here. I played in the Prem and watched them play, certainly in the Six Nations and a couple of games from memory. There's only one really that sticks out since then up here. Obviously just playing at home, like I said, you get a fair bit of confidence. Twickenham's a pretty special place to play, especially when sold out. It's a pretty amazing stadium. I'm sure they feel like they probably grow a leg there in confidence. But like I said before, winning at home's good, but winning away from home, that's pretty special, and that's something you remember for the rest of your life. So that's an opportunity for us to come over. And like you said, it's been a long time since we've got a result here. So why not now?
Izack, I know that we've spoken about the disappointment of the loss from an Australian perspective, but from your perspective, the combination with Rory Arnold seemed to look like it went really well. Was it firstly enjoyable to get out there with him, but secondly, was it easy to kind of pick up that partnership again? Because clearly you combined a lot in 2019 particularly.
Look, definitely. It was a blast from the past getting back with Rory. It's good to see him back here after a year off. I think we picked up from where we left off in the combination point of view. Like, he's a real easy bloke on and off the field to gel with. And I think we had a good combo on the weekend. A little bit rusty, a few things, but building.
Nick, is it from your perspective as you're the halfback, so you're between the forwards and the backs. From Isaac's perspective, he might have that partnership, but for you, there's so many moving parts because there's new forwards there, but there's also, new 10, Hunter's recently back there, new fullback. So what's that perspective like in terms of how like everyone was talking about the continuity? It seemed like it wasn't quite humming like it might have been a month ago with Quade there.
Yeah, look, it was a little bit clunky at times and took us a little while to get into it. And there's certainly an element of new guys coming in, and we've got to be able to adapt to the way they play, and they bring different strengths. When guys come in, but there's also an element of guys need to fit into the way we want to play. So it is a bit of a juggling act when you get a few new guys coming in. But I think on the whole, it was pretty good. It was a little clunky early, but it's something we feel that we can fix pretty quickly. And I feel like by the second half, it was the kinks had kind of been ironed out. But I could certainly feel what you're seeing there.
Do you feel like, bearing that in mind, that sometimes less is more? And yes, there might be people, particularly external forces, saying, "Oh, make changes," but could perhaps just the best thing is another week in the saddle?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's just obviously a personal view, and the team selection goes down to Dave and others. But sometimes less is more. Like guys need a little bit of time in the saddle to feel comfortable, and like I said, for guys to get used to the guys around them. Like I said, we've got a way we want to play the game, but within the forwards and the backs, guys bring different strengths to the game, and we certainly don't want them to feel like they can't use them. So we've got to, within training, hopefully by game day, have that all settled, and those guys can use those strengths.
Nick, could I jump in and ask you a question about Ben Youngs? I think he's in line to play for the 17th time against Australia. As a scrum half, what are the qualities you admire in him, and what's allowed him to stay at the top for so long?
I think with Ben, one thing I've always admired about him is just super consistent. Like at times it probably doesn't really seem like he has some like a really amazing performances. But I'd say for the most part, they're all just really good performances. He never has a bad one. He's just sitting there in the middle all the time, and for a guy to play over 100 tests for their country and, over a decade in the Prem, which I know is pretty tough going, long seasons. He's always there and gives a consistent performance. If he's having a bad day, it's still a good day. And if he has a good day, it's a great day. So, he's, while there's probably other nines out there at the moment, like the DuPonts and things like that have X factor to a guy like Ben Youngs and probably Aaron Smith that have the runs on the board and the consistency for a long period of time, which is no easy feat at test level.
Would you have any standout memories of playing against him, either for Exeter or for Australia?
It's been a long time since I've played England. I guess, I don't have too many great ones of that quarter final. That's all I can think back to, mate.
No worries. And last one from me. Could you just kind of summarise what Scott Wisemantle's brought to you guys? Obviously, he was seen as a really influential figure in how England went at the last World Cup.
Yes, good energy. I think he's just giving guys freedom to back themselves, and I guess trying to unlock a lot of guys at test level and get them to feel comfortable. I think, but what he kind of offers, just the day to day when you wake up, he brings in a certain energy to the breakfast room, doesn't he? Yeah. And around the place, and he's a great guy to have, especially in these last couple of years where we're on tour for a long time. You want guys like Wisey around, and that energy, and then he's just he's been around the game a long time. He seems to be a couple of steps ahead of the game, and he's certainly even for a few of us that have been around a long time, still learning.
Thanks,
Nick, everyone knew the history between Michael Checker and Eddie Jones. I know you weren't part of every England-Australia Test week over the last few years, but the World Cup quarterfinal you were. Do you think this Test week will be different under Dave compared to maybe what it was under Checker, given their sort of background?
yeah, I think it'll be less personal, for sure. Not that as a playing group, I certainly didn't feel it, but there was obviously a lot in the media with you guys between Eddie and Czech and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it'll be a little different this week, and it'll be a good chance for us to, certainly after the performance on the weekend, to focus on what we want to do and the way we want to play. And it'll be good.
Rightly or wrongly, the media like to look into everything Eddie says and vice versa. Straight off the bat, he was very quick to praise you after that England game last week, saying you're playing outstanding. Do you take it with a grain of salt, mind games? What do you think about his comments? Pretty high.
Oh, mate, it's nice for him to give us some praise, but yeah, I think Eddie's the king of mind games, so I'm certainly not reading into too much of what he says. So yeah, he's mate, he's the type of guy you'd love to sit down and have a beer and talk rugby with, isn't it? And then hopefully one day get that chance. But you know, he's the king of within these rugby circles of you know, with the media and that sort of stuff. And I love listening to it. So but our job is, like I said, and this week will be a little different to previous games with England, as we'll probably focus on you know, the things we could have controlled on the weekend just gone. You know, and fix those and really concentrate on us rather than in previous times concentrating on so much of what England do.
How's Geordie Pataya going? And obviously Taniela as well, copped a pretty bad knock. And Geordie in particular, do you have to put a bit of an arm around him? It's been had a torrid run of injury in the last few years when he's, you know, just bursting back onto the scene.
Yeah, feel for a guy like Geordie. Just seems like he's just so bloody powerful. You know, and you know, he's just starting to break out again, and you know, I'll put an arm around him, but and make sure he's okay. I think he's off to get some more answers today, but you know, it's yeah, it's hard. We're a pretty tight knit group, and we'll get around him. I certainly don't want him to forget all the good things he's starting to come into, but geez, he's just you know, if he can catch a break, he's going to be, you know, he is phenomenal. Not going to be, already is, and you know, I don't know where the ceiling is for him. So, you know, hopefully he gets it right, and you know, he'll be flying. So with Nella, he seemed all right yesterday. So, you know, hopefully he goes all good. He's got a protocol he's got to go through. So,
Izack, can you just give us a bit of an insight into what you think went right or wrong with the scrum on the weekend? I know that you're not a front rower, but you're always pushing the guys in front of you.
Yeah, look, I put my hand up. I don't know much about scrummaging. I'm just a lock, I just push. But look, I think that's something the front row fix up. They'll go through it in detail. They're a pretty tight-knit group, and they'll be aware of what they need to improve, come into England and fix up. So I leave it in their hands. I think they'll be all over it.
Izack, you do know about the line out though, and going up against second rows like Itoje, Johnny Hill, and also Courtney Laws. I mean, that's a pretty ferocious trio. How important is it that you guys go well at line out time this week?
Yeah, I do know a bit more about line out. Yeah, look, definitely. Look, they're a great pack. Especially with those three guys, they've got a good defensive presence. I think it just comes down to us. You know, we got to do our thing right, and it's definitely crucial we win line out ball so the backs can do their thing. We got a great back line, and we want to give them top quality ball. So yeah, we're just going to focus on our own stuff, really.
First couple on Sunday, Scotland seemed to go little short ones in, almost as if they were trying to avoid the competition. Do you see England trying to do something similar? The indication seemed to be on Sunday that they didn't feel they could win line-out ball going straight line-out against you.
Look, I think that just comes down to what the attack coaches want. I think Scotland had a plan around that. They tried to, you know, get some easy space and whatnot and change up the picture, which a lot of teams are doing now. I think we can expect anything from England. They got a good set piece, and just have to wait and see what they bring, really.
Nick, can I just ask you, obviously you guys are playing around the world, there's a lot of you in Europe, and obviously a lot of Aussies have played in England recently. Does it therefore make England-Australia still a special fixture, or does some of the edge come off when you're actually far more familiar with each other?
No, I don't think any of the edge is gone. Not at all, especially after recent times, certainly from our end. You know, England's a side that we're desperate to beat. And yeah, they'll always be big brother, won't it? So yeah, with whatever we're playing, rugby or whatever sport, cricket, you name it, if it's England versus Australia, it's the gloves are on.
So this is just the really round one for the Ashes then.
Potentially.
Anything else, guys?
Nick, can I jump in? Oh.
Sure.
Nick, it's Owen Slots here from the Times. I just wanted to ask, especially given your time playing here and watching English rugby, there's a big debate at the moment about whether Marcus Smith should be playing for England or not. There's a slight reluctance here to embrace players who you might call flair players, if you like, especially at 10. I just wonder if that's something that an assessment you agree with or noticed over here, or if you think there's anything behind it, like conditions or just the traditional way that the English play rugby.
I actually found up here like a lot of afternoon footy. It was always pretty good conditions to play a lot of footy. Obviously, watching Marcus Smith over the last couple of years, played against him. He's phenomenal. Like there were like a couple of questions when he was just a kid first playing around his defence, but he was a kid. I think he's really come of age. I think when he's got the ball in two hands, he's dangerous with a pack like he's playing at Quins and with the English pack. He's certainly a guy that can unlock a lot of the way. There's a lot of big guys outside him as well, and he can be the key of unlocking that. It's obviously a great kicker. So that's Eddie's the king of mind games there, and he is the king of England. So he'll make the call there, and I'm sure he'll get it right when it's the right time. Certainly, I think he's done the right thing by Marcus in not rushing him in there. I think he played his first game when he was like 18. So I think he's been brought through pretty slowly and in the right way, both at Quins and with English rugby. So he is the future. There's no doubt about that. But when he fully takes the reins, it'll be pretty exciting for English rugby. And if he's got them this weekend, it's another challenge for us. But one we're pretty used to playing against 10s like him that have got a fair bit of flair.
Last couple of things, guys.
Thank you.
Nick and Izack, perhaps both of you can comment on this. Do you guys, I know that you can't talk about all the defeats and so forth, and you want to be just focusing on the next week, but that quarterfinal, you both played in it. Do you take much motivation out of that? Is it almost a sense of you want to get a bit of revenge for it?
This one?
No, you got it.
I kind of, yes, probably being a part of it, definitely. But I kind of feel like it's a new group, and this is a completely new coaching staff, new players. Not a whole heap of players were a part of that and know much about that. So I feel like it is it's a new start for this group, and we're starting from scratch really.
Have you ever been more annoyed though after a defeat?
Yeah. Obviously getting knocked out of a World Cup, pretty annoyed. It was pretty hard that day, when you lose pretty convincingly, and it's the close ones you're probably more annoyed with when you're beaten well and truly. It's almost you cop those ones. No, you weren't good enough.
Anything else, guys? Debbie? Thanks, Izack. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Just a reminder, that's all embargoed for 2